Okay, Algebra 2. So I showed you about distributive property, and I showed you about factoring, but let's show it one more time just to hammer it home, okay? And I won't use the graspable this time. I'll show you guys kind of by hand what's happening. So if I have the expression 3 times x plus 4, we want to distribute that. I know you've seen this before many, many times. We are going to multiply what's on the outside to both things on the inside. So it's 3 times x plus 3 times 4. Easy enough. We can multiply those, 3x plus 12. And those parentheses that were there, we usually drop them, but I mean, really invisible, they're still there. So now when we go backwards, if I start a problem like this, 3x plus 12, and I ask you to factor it, those parentheses are still there. And what we're trying to do is to figure out what these two things have in common, and then factor that to the outside of those parentheses. Go backwards from the distributive property. Well, 3 times x is 3 times x. 12 we have to recognize is 3 times 4. And then we can just say, oh, what's there twice? What did they both have? Well, they both have this 3. So that's the 3 that I'm going to pull out to the outside of these parentheses. So that 3 comes on the outside. The x plus 4 remain on the inside. That's factoring. Okay? Let's try another one for you guys. I want you to factor 4x plus 16. Take a minute, hit pause if you need to. Those are there. And then come back and factor that thing. Okay, we're back. We have to know our multiplication tables, or this is going to be a nightmare for us, but 16 is 4 times 4. 4 times 4. Okay, so I see they both have a 4. That's awesome. So I'm going to take that 4 that was used twice, and I'm going to put it outside once. It only shows up once, but we used it twice. So this 4 is gone. I picked it up and I moved it. I divided. I'm dividing, and I bring that to the outside, right? Distributive property is multiplying in. Factoring is dividing out. And what was left was x plus 4. Now let's look at the same problem again. 4x plus 16. If some of you noticed, and maybe you were here, maybe you weren't, they're both even. So I know they both have a 2, right? This could be 2 times 2 times x. That's 4x. And 16 is 2 times 8. Okay, I see something they have in common. They both had a 2. So I could, on the outside of the parentheses, bring these 2s. This 2 and this 2, bring that to the outside of the parentheses. And I would be left with 2x plus 8. Our answers are not the same, and that's because the one over here has been completely factored. I can't go any further. This one, I can go further. This has a 2, and 8 is 2 times 4. So 2x plus 2 times 4. I see still on the inside, they both have a 2. So I can take those 2s and bring it to the outside. One of them comes to the outside. They're being used twice, but it only shows up once out here. And then this is multiplication, when I bring extra stuff to the outside. So 2 times 2, 4, x plus 4. And it's the same answer both ways. So we just got to be careful. We want to completely factor. We want the greatest common factor. This method is called factoring using the GCF, the greatest common factor. It has to be the biggest number. 4 was the biggest. 2 was not the biggest. So we had more steps to do. Okay? Let's do some practice. Moving on.